Tonight's Modern Men is powered by the Hero Initiative. Are you interested in becoming a hero? Go to heroinitiative.org to see how you can be a hero to those comic creators in need. Hey, how's it going, guys? We're live this week, Andy. We're live. Somehow, none of us had to work tomorrow for a change. So we're like, you know what? We're going to do it live. I didn't upload the gimmick of the guy on the news and Inside Edition saying we're going to do live. But hey, as you can tell, we're already live. But Drew, he'll be joining us here in about hopefully 20 minutes or so. He's still running home from work. So I know you guys are looking forward to that. But as usual, with perfect attendance, my co-host for Modern Men is here. Andy, how you doing tonight, Andy?
Better now that you guys are here and everybody's in the chat. I am excited. This was my wild card pick.
Absolutely. I was so happy you picked this as a wild card because this is one of my all-time favorite reads. So tonight we're going to be talking about Batman Year One. What an awesome read this is. We're going to get into that. But first, it's been way too long since we've been live. So we got to get into this fine chat we've got brewing over here. We got Ricky Markstadt. What is going on, Ricky? Host of our Discord over probably down on the link below. Always nice to see Ricky in the chats. Of course, we got Andy hanging out in the chat as well, saying hi to everybody. We got DNP, Downright Nerdy Podcast, another one of my favorites, in the chat tonight. We got Gomer. What's going on, man? He is hanging out in the chat as well. And I'm afraid I've got some bad news. We got Chris Barrett. Yep, you bet we're live tonight. And I want to make sure people stick around toward the end of the show because, Andy, we have no idea what's going to be on the poll for tonight. We never even discussed it today. I'm out of ideas. Every idea I pick, people vote for other ideas. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just leave it to the chat tonight to come up with 5 reads that they can vote on for week 66. But one more programming note I do want to address here is, we're on episode 64 now, and I know we got a lot of perverts and dirty-minded people in the community watching, so they're like, what are these guys going to do for episode 69? Well, I've already came up with an idea for episode 69, and that we're going to read Sex Criminals for episode 69. So before you guys can even ask the question, the day after Valentine's Day will be episode 69, February 15th. We're going to be reading Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. Andy, do you know anything at all about this book?
Sounds awfully sexy. No, I remember when the book landed and a lot of people said it was a fantastic read. It was another one of those titles during... Well, everything I had going on, it just didn't. It hit the chopping block for me. I know it's good. It's Matt Fraction. It just didn't make it. I got too many. I'm cutting back for 2021. I promise I'm cutting back. But now we're going to read this.
Nice. So, yeah, I have like the hardcover over there I got on clearance like a year ago. So just hadn't had a chance to read it yet. So I'm like, what a better opportunity to read it. And then we got the Stream Elements robot in chat for some reason. Chad keeps paying that bill, so he keeps showing up, I guess.
Beep, boop, beep, pop.
But another topic for tonight, we're going to be talking about Infamous Origins. So what that basically means is we're going to discuss some of our favorite comic book character origins, some of the more infamous ones that we're kind of tired of seeing redone a trillion times, maybe some of the underrated, some of the dumbest origins. Who knows? I haven't even really thought about all of the origins we're going to talk about. So I'm sure we'll come up with some good ones and some bad ones too. And then hopefully the chat will be there to help us as well with a few of their ideas. But Andy, let's go ahead and get into Batman Year One. This was your wild card pick. What influenced you to pick this for your wild card?
I've heard a lot of people talk about Batman Year One being an incredibly important Batman read. And yet people talk so highly of it, and it's never hit one of our lists. It's never hit a poll. It's never hit anything on it as far as our radar. We've talked about it a little bit, but it's never seriously come up as far as a front runner for the show. It's just been, yeah, we should read this at some point. So when I got the DC wildcard, I got to thinking about it a little bit. And then when you mentioned that, it just piqued my interest again. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We've had some really good Batman reads. We haven't read this one yet. We got to get to this one. So now's the time.
Yeah, and if you see like all those like best of Batman lists on, well, pick a website at this point. This is usually like on the top 10, top 15, what have you. And I feel like this is kind of an overlooked read because when you think Frank Miller, you think Batman, most people out there think, Dark Knight Returns first, typically. But I think, that is as classic of a read that is. I think this is like the one you want to follow that up with. A lot of people, like, they will see like, oh, there's Dark Knight Strikes Again and Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. No, don't waste your time with those. Just pick a copy of this up, Batman Year One. It's a worthy prequel, I guess, if you want to call it, to Dark Knight Returns.
Is it a yeah.
So, yeah, obviously the Dark Knight Returns is the last Batman story, basically. And this is more or less the first Batman story, which I think this one came out in 1987, if I'm not mistaken. So this one was right after the success of Dark Knight Returns and all of that stuff. So, and obviously Frank Miller had a lot of momentum going for him with his work on the Elektra story and Daredevil, Dark Knight Returns and that stuff. So, yeah, DC was definitely happy to give a little bit more work. He kind of got to think when this came out, too. It was post-crisis time, and, pretty much the window was open for free reign. So just like, why not retell Batman's origin while we're at it? We're kind of already redoing Superman's origin with the John Byrne Man of Steel miniseries. George Perez redid Wonder Woman's origin in his run, so why not have Frank Miller do something with Batman? Because people were buzzing about the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns stuff.
Yeah, my hot topic opinion as far as Batman goes is I've always considered Batman to be boring. Batman's always been boring to me. But just like Spider-Man, who I've never really been too energized about either, the tertiary characters within the universes are what really spark a lot of my interest. And if you get a writer like Frank Miller and you get a really good writer on Batman, it becomes one of my favorite reads. Dark Knight Returns, Year One, case in point. This book opens up. This book is more of a story about Gotham and Commissioner Gordon than it is just Batman, which is why I fell in love with this. Like, I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And finally this morning I sat down and I read it and I was done. I couldn't pace myself. I couldn't read it fast enough. I couldn't slow down. I couldn't stop reading it. And then I messaged you and I'm like, wait, is there another book? Is Comixology playing a trick on me? Is there more to this? And then I went back and read it again. And immediately after that, I sat down and I watched the movie as well. It's just from a visual standpoint and a story standpoint where it does so much more for the universe of Batman than it does Batman. Like, Batman books, mostly in my experience, have had such a huge focal point on Batman that they become really boring to me. But then when you throw in this read and you got Catwoman, you've got Commissioner Gordon, you've got Gotham City and its underbelly of criminals and everything else that's going on, this was fantastic.
Yeah, before I keep going, I do want to say hi to a few more folks in the chat. We got Captain Comics. What is going on, Cap? Nice to always see Captain Comics in the chat. We still got Gomer hanging out, Ricky Markstadt, Chris Barrett talking about winning Intercontinental Championships in Rio or something. All I know is I'm just glad Ricky Markstadt's here. He says, mostly about Gordon. Reminds me of the Gotham show. It's funny you mention that because in that anime movie, which we'll talk about a little bit, the guy who actually plays Jim Gordon on Gotham voices Batman in that animated movie. Weird factoid I found out.
Say that again?
The guy who plays Jim Gordon on Gotham, the Gotham Fox TV series, plays the voice of Batman in the Batman Year One animated movie.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Yeah, so I didn't realize. I was like, that voice sounds familiar, but I can't pinpoint it, so I actually had to go and look it up. But anyway, like, I always feel like the best Batman stories, and this is the kind of the way, like, I guarantee like Court of Owls kind of, stole from this basically. The best Batman stories usually kind of make Gotham a character into itself, basically. They start their story by telling you a little bit about Gotham and, why it's important and basically why it sucks, and more or less. Why does Gotham need like Batman and Jim Gordon, and why do those guys need Gotham, basically? And that's kind of where you start off. But what I really love about this story is, like you said, Andy, it's not just a story about Batman, even though it's deceiving by the cover here. It says Batman Year One. It has a Batman on the cover. In my opinion, this is more about Jim Gordon and his rise up the ranks of the Gotham City Police Department. And the main crux of the story is him having to clean out the Gotham City Police Department. But speaking of, I don't even have a joke right this second. We got DruManchu joining us. What's going on, Drew? We're live,
man. Wow.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. It's been a long day. We're gearing up for a long tomorrow.
Ooh.
But in between that, we're going to talk about a short story that is not as good as I remembered it.
Oh, here we go.
Well, look, man, it is what it is. Hey, you want the filibuster up front?
Well, let me get the warning out. I did upload it here.
All right. Man, year one. Wow. It's almost like there's not enough Batman in this book. It's almost like it's like about Jim Gordon having an affair, and why we should care about that, nobody knows. I like my Jim Gordon as a paragon of virtue. I like him not in the muck and the mire with everybody else in Gotham. And, if he wants to get some strange, I guess that's his business. But overall, this book left me wanting.
All right. Now you are tired, Drew. Dang.
That was shorter than the book.
I was just talking about how I liked it for the exact same reason. I really enjoyed the book because of Commissioner Gordon. I think the book doesn't work without him. And I like the fact that, future incarnations of storytelling were influenced by this, i.e. Gotham Central. I was going to talk about how Gotham Central, I love that book, and I think they have a lot of their ideas that started from Batman Year One. So it's like, why not make a whole book based on the Gotham City Police Precinct and, kind of phase Batman into the background?
Sure. Can we call it Gordon Year 37, or do we got to call it Batman Year One?
Now, where do you fall on this, Andy?
I don't.
He doesn't fall on it at all.
Gotham City, I'm not fully apprised on at all by any means. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of Batman experience, and what I do have Mike. Batman experience wise, it's you guys dragging me through the weeds with some of these fantastic reads. And a lot of the stuff that I try to experiment with outside of what we've read here for Batman, I find really boring. So it's the writers, the creative team has to be good on it, and it can't, if it's so like what Drew wants focused on Batman for me, I kind of lose interest right away. It's the universe that surrounds Batman that's really intriguing to me.
Now, did you find it interesting in this, like, that we get an imperfect version of Batman? Because it seems like in most Batman storytelling, especially, post Grant Morrison, Batman can do no wrong. And here, like, especially in the first couple issues, he gets his ass kicked in the middle of this, like, awful street. Wait, hold the phone here. We got another guest hopping in here. Uh-oh. We got the Great Legend Show. What's going on, man?
Man, coming at you live. I'm ready to see the pearls drop for the 50,000th time. Classic Frank Miller, man. People. Classic Frank Miller. It's good to be here with the modern men. And, man, we got a lot of modern men in the chat, I tell you.
We need some modern ladies in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Let me run down the chat real quick because it's been a while. Ricky Mark Stack, he loves that 69. He stacks it up all the time. DNP. Hey, it's me. It's DNP. Don't get that diamond cutter. We got Gomer in the house. Good to see old Gomer. One of my faves. Gomer, I've been going to that channel, that outright geekery thing. And dude, man, I only watch the videos that you're on. I don't know who the hell them other people are, but I say I need some Gomer. We got Chris Barrett, CB, ComicManAndy. What's up? He's here with his live stream element spot. Hey, Captain Comics. Ahoy, mateys. It's great to see the captain here. Taking time from pillaging comics to watch some modern men. The great legend shaved. Oh, yeah, shaved the beard. Got some of the top coming back in. But, man, good to see the fans out there. So, Andy, this book, man, Frank Miller, one of his best. Maybe some may say it is the best. What did you think? Batman Year One.
Well, I'm glad, Carson, you brought that up about the imperfect Batman. I really honestly think the reason why I was so enthralled and pulled into this is it reminds me a lot of early Punisher stuff with the narration, with the inner dialogue that Frank Castle has of himself as he's remembering not to black out and not to bleed out and, all this crazy stuff. He's got to get to this stash of medical equipment or get to this. And this is how he's going to being walked through with that inner dialogue via the narrator or the character at that time. Frank Miller did a really good job with that, in my opinion, and it really sucked me in. That's why I loved a lot of the early Punisher stuff and the War Journal stuff, is because you're not just watching the character move through these reactions or this action at the time or get through this challenge. You're hearing them live through it and how they're fighting and actually battling through it. And it kind of pulls you really into the pages and really be a part of it. It drew a lot of comparisons to stuff that I grew up with and really loved with. And that's kind of what really just sold me on the book.
I've got a question for you guys. Okay. We've read a lot of Frank Miller on Modern Men. Frank Miller is known for being off his fucking rocker sometimes. Do you guys think that this was probably the most grounded and realistic and the least crazy Frank Miller has ever been in this book?
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of my vibe on it. I like Frank Miller better in like All-Star Batman and Robin, where he's like, yeah, kid, you're going to have to eat rats. It's good. And like when he's got like ladies with swastikas on their titties and like,
Classic.
and like, I mean,
Classic
Frank Miller for me is like this directing the spirit. Like, I want my Frank Miller as crazy as Frank Miller can get. And I feel like this book is kind of devoid of Frank Miller madness.
Yeah. Well, you got to be a straight shooter sometime. One of the favorite things about this storyline that I love is the two cops. I think one's like a rookie cop and one's like an older cop. Do you remember that part, Carson, where they go into that building?
Oh yeah, like in Dark Knight Rises, where the older cop is just like, "Hey, wait till you get a load of this kid," and like Batman turns out the lights and he's pursuing, who he thinks is Bane on the motorcycle. Yeah. I mean, that's what's funny now. And Andy, since you've kind of been reading a lot of this stuff for the first time, well, I guess I should ask first: how familiar are you with all the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, like Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises?
I've watched them at least a couple of times a piece, and then if I see them on cable TV, I'll sit and turn them on if I'm doing something and listen to it in the background.
Yeah, because I think if you watch
there, right, Carson?
I was gonna say, I think if you watched them all at this point, since you've read Year One, Dark Knight Returns, even Long Halloween, the Jeff Loeb stuff.
There's a lot of Long Halloween in the second movie, The Dark Knight. Yeah, all the Harvey Dent stuff.
Where all of this stuff has been referenced from now, basically. It's going to be kind of mind-blowing to you. But Legend, I think I might blow your mind on this one. I think I might have found a Mandela effect.
Probably.
You mean the Forrest Whitaker effect?
Yeah. So, watching the movie, and I was going to get in the movie a little bit, but there's a scene in that movie where Batman, he's just trying to figure out, or Bruce Wayne, he's just trying to figure out, like, Father, what do I need to do? He's like,
he's sitting on that chair, the lightning in the window. Yeah,
the bat comes through the window. He visualizes the alley. He visualizes his parents getting gunned down. It is literally raining pearls in that scene.
I hate that stuff.
Do you think they would have pulled the pearls from this book?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No pearls.
I don't know, man.
No pearls.
No pearls at all? I thought Frank Miller always had pearls.
Pearl free.
What are the pearls? What have they done to the pearls?
Yeah, I don't know.
They got Forrest Whitaker down over there.
But literally in that
I don't
movie,
remember, since I've never read, but they rained in the movie, like you said.
yeah, it literally rains pearls in the movie.
Maybe Frank Miller himself was just tired of that shit, man. And he turned it off.
He just got
But
the
yeah.
eraser out, like Mazzucchelli drew the pearls.
So maybe I got to blame Denny O'Neil. Wasn't he the one that made it dark? It may have been him that did the pearls. I don't really know. That is a great question for the chat. Do you all know where the Martha Pearls freaking mythos comes from? Was it damn Denny O'Neil? You know, the reiteration, getting away from that Neil Adams 70s style into that black 1989 Tim Burton costume style. That's that old our boy that we Denny O'Neil right there, man. Damn, I don't know.
Maybe it was Zack Snyder. He's just done it so many times.
Zack Snyder. Hey, he's a fan of the pearls.
He invented the pearl,
man.
I mean, maybe it was in Dark Knight Returns, but I don't know why it wouldn't be in here as well. Or unless Mazzucchelli, maybe he's the one who erased them.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, I thought there was a scene. I'm trying to think of the one. Maybe it was Dark Knight Returns. There's a scene. The Joe Chill or whoever's pointing the gun. The pearls are for whatever reason wrapped around the gun. So when the hammer goes down, it blows up the pearls.
Yeah, where did you see that one? I've seen that.
That's what I was trying to think.
That's the Zack Snyder pearls.
Oh, shit.
Okay, that was so he had to have stolen that from somewhere. He wouldn't think of that originally.
No, I mean he can't think of anything originally.
But
he also doesn't know how to play up source material either, because he'd probably understand who Batman or Superman were at some point.
1989,
films.
1989, while Marvel and Stan Lee were giving each other blowjobs and didn't have movies for a pot to piss in, there was a kick-ass Michael Keaton Batman movie that came out, and it had the pearls too.
So while we're talking about the movie, let's go ahead and get into the movie. So Andy, you said you got a chance to watch the movie this afternoon. What did you think of it?
This fucking guy over here.
I did it. It's almost like somebody took the comic book and threw it at the TV and wow, here you go. Here is the comic book read in visual video format. I liked it a lot. I did notice one thing. A lot of the narration that I loved in the actual book was not there in the video. The inner dialogue, the inner monologue dialogue, it would be monologue, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't there in the video. So there's one scene, for instance, when Batman's battling the three crooks on the fire escape of the building. You miss out on his entire thought process of fearing about. He's like, I don't want to. I'm not going to become a killer. I'm going to catch the boy's leg, and it's a good thing he blacked out. Otherwise, it would have ripped out my shoulder. You miss a whole page of information and thought process from Batman, from Bruce Wayne, that was pretty important. That set that scene, and kind of this was his inaugural run in the full suit fighting crime, if I remember correctly, out of the book. And in the video, in the movie, you miss a big chunk of that. And then I started to notice that there were other chunks missing out as well. So I don't know why they dropped that, because I feel like the thing was only 64 minutes. I feel like they could have let another extra 10 to 15 minutes go on there and added this stuff, but
especially for his first run through.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other funny thing they changed in the movie, and I get it, is in 11 or whatever, and they didn't like portraying people smoking on screen. So the only scene they add that's not in the original book is Jim Gordon offering the kids he saves chewing gum because he's constantly chewing gum because he's not smoking in the movie.
And also the other detective that comes along that he has that affair with, she's not seen smoking in the show either, where she was she was a predominant smoker in the book.
Yeah, Sarah Essen, she's definitely a big figure in this. Yeah, that's I was going to get
home wrecker.
You got Bryan Cranston as Jim Gordon. That's a great cast. Why can't they make that happen for real? That's great. You got Ben McKenzie as Bruce Wayne, who of course gets second billing in this. He's the guy who was Gordon in Gotham. Elijah Dushku is Selena Kyle. Not bad casting there.
Nope.
She's known for her voice.
We got Alex Rocco, who played Falcone. He was Mo Green in Godfather.
But don't pass over John Polito for.
That's right. Yeah, John Polito. Yeah,
he was fantastic. His voice fit that bill perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then you had Katie Sackhoff is Sarah Essen, which, hey, I'd watch that movie.
Yep.
So yeah, a pretty solid voice cast there. I just wish this thing was longer. like you said, like they took out more of those dialogue spots, and you could have expanded a little bit on a few of the scenes from the book. With having that phenomenal cast, you only make the movie 60 minutes. But nonetheless, it's on HBO Max, so if you got the subscription, I highly recommend it if you've read the book, because other than that, it's pretty much a carbon copy. There's like no alterations at all, like I said, except for Gordon chews gum.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's
Legend,
hilarious.
I know you got a chance to enjoy the movie, you said.
Yeah, I love the DC animated movies. Something they could finally fucking do. Now, that's not to say my boy Shazam's kicking that ass, and we're gonna get The Rock, baby. The Rock gonna be kicking that ass, but even those people won't even match Drew's Marvel.
It's true.
So anyway, yeah. But the cartoon movie was really good. DC does that great job. Andrea Romano always is a great voice casting director. She always looks at each individual part, and then she matches that with the best voice actor she can get, but not only just the best voice actor, but the best group of voice actors that play well off each other. I think that's real important for certain shows, even though I would take that Justice League Unlimited cast and put them on everything if I could, But yeah, really just good show. I loved the getting to see him go out, like Andy is saying, getting to see him kick ass for the first time, figure out in his mind how he is going to get all this shit done, and how he is going to make Gotham a better place, and how he is going to avenge his mom's death. So man, just a great freaking read. If y'all have never read it before, I don't think I've read this before, but God, I've just read so damn much. Maybe I'm just getting it confused with all the other Batman stuff I've read. But read some Frank Miller, and if you don't read this one, read that damn Dark Knight Returns, man. That's my favorite Frank Miller, like many others. But just a great story and a great. I believe like a lot of the things that are out for DC, not so much Marvel, because I just haven't. Marvel X-Men cartoon, that fucking thing, that was amazing. But I love the cartoons that fit well with their comic book counterpart. The ones that are the most true to the realism of the comic. I really like that. Of course, you can differentiate, some stuff, but if you stay close to the comic, you're always gonna have your best bet if you stay close to the comic. You start deriving away from the comic, well, look what happened to Wonder Woman 84. You start playing around, you're Patty Jenkins, you start fucking playing around, want to get your name out there, want to get your clout, you want to take away fucking that.
I don't know. Jeff Johns wrote that movie.
I don't know, man. I just think it's just stupid. I think they only need to. I'm gonna do the tonight. I'm just calling it tonight. I'm in the mood where the comic book fanboy needs to be fucking heard and stop making shitty stuff. All you got to do is read the comic book. You read the comic book, make a good movie. That's it, Carson. Just read the comic book. It's not that hard.
What are your thoughts on all this, Drew?
Man, I really enjoyed the animated version of this book because it's a very literal adaptation. I like that. Does the movie then need more Batman and less Gordon banging some rando? Yeah, it does. It still needs more of that. Does it need more Frank Miller madness? Yes, it needs more Miller madness. It's a great adaptation of a story that I'm going to go ahead and score it right now, 8.0.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I was just getting ready to ask score, so Drew gives it
8.0.
8.0.
Good, not great. Certainly, there are better Frank Miller stories out there. There are better Batman origin stories out there. And I think that when you get something like Batman Begins, which takes a lot from this story, you get a better Batman origin that way, in my opinion, showing homage to the story, but not following it directly. Because honestly, it's a story about Jim Gordon cheating on his wife. And then Batman is like struggling to be Batman, but like, I got to use 6 more issues of Batman struggling to be Batman, and one issue of freaking Gordon being like, "Oh, I got to bang this chick because she's not my wife," but then I feel bad because she's not my wife.
Bang.
Man, I don't want to cheat on my wife anymore. Oh, I'm gonna do it again. Whatever. And for Christ's sakes, let people smoke in media. Like, people smoke every day. Like, fuck's sake, the kids weren't watching Batman Year One, or they'd have been like, "Why is Jim Gordon cheating on his wife? Where the fuck's Batman?"
They did swear quite a bit in the actual animated film too, so I don't know if it's just Warner Animation just has a complete ban.
Honestly, I think at this point it may be a federal law about animation.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
I thought it was something to do with the rating system, but that makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to swear and have him committing adultery, what's wrong with smoking a cigar?
Like they had that drug trafficker too. But anyway, Legend.
Chris Barrett in the chat, I just want to point this out that he says, "How do we know that they just had sex if they're not smoking?" And I want you to know, Chris Barrett, if you just had sex and you're smoking, there's probably too much friction. Look into a good lube.
Jesus. What about you, Legend? How do you score the story of Batman Year One?
That Batman Year One story. Hey, there's old Michael. Good
Knights of
Michael.
Old.
Hell yeah. Knights of Old in the house. One of the best of the Golden guys. One of probably, my most favorite Golden guy over there. But anyway, I agree with Drew on this one. Frank Miller's got better stuff. Was the best origin? I don't know. I think that damn Denny O'Neil changed the game for Batman, and like everyone's always going to play catch up to Denny O'Neil. Like people say stuff about Scott Snyder. I was like, you don't get the Scott Snyder Batman without Denny O'Neil, Damn. You don't get none of that shit without Bill Finger, though. Anyway, 8.0. Yeah.
We got Howler Mouse.
I like Howler's comment there. Thought Miller focused on Gordon because Bruce didn't know what the hell he was doing in the first year. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that that's one way to take the story. I would just be more interested in watching Bruce find his way and struggling more than giving me a story called Batman Year One. Well, what happens when Batman's new at this? Well, let's look at what Gordon was doing. Now, I feel like that's a misnomer for the title, in my opinion. I want more of his first year and less of Gordon finger diddling the new girl.
What about you, Andy? What are you going to give this one?
I'm with Drew on this. Could there have been more Batman? Sure. Could have been done a little bit better as far as an origin story? Could there have been more crazy Frank Miller? Sure. I think that would have been adding a lot more to the story, but I still feel like this was written to me. I feel like this was hey, Andy, here's a Batman read just for you. And it's tuned exactly to what I enjoy reading. I'm going to go with a 9.2 on this one.
Hell
nice.
Yeah. Good shit, Andy.
I think I'm going to give this, I think I'm about to go 9.4. I think it was a really good decision to have as much Gordon as possible.
Classic Seawood overrating.
You see them both arrive at the same time, and through Gordon's eyes, you see the shit show that Gotham has become. And I think that's the importance of the stories. You slowly it's only 4 issues. Like Frank Miller did this in 4 issues. We can't forget that either. And you see in these 4 issues how all of a sudden, because of Batman's involvement in what he's doing, even though he's not perfect, and they show you that too, he's making Gotham a better place. And you see this through Gordon's perspective. And I think that's the entire point. He goes from having to basically beat up his police partner because he got beat up earlier by baseball bats to, his biggest problem just being, unfortunately dealing with his wife and his mistress, basically. So, which later down the line, we find out, hey, his mistress becomes his wife. So there you go. Sorry, Barbara Sr. But 9.4, I think, I like sane Frank Miller. It's a thing I miss. I'm not a fan of recent Frank Miller craziness. Like pretty much anything Dark Knight Strikes Again on, you can count me out. I'm not a fan of any of that. So I like grounded Frank Miller. I think he's great.
I'm gonna find a way to make the girls on Sunday watch The Spirit.
The Strikes Again, he killed off Billy. Remember?
It's true.
Strikes Again, Frank Miller. You remember?
Oh yeah.
I like my Frank Miller off his goddamn rocker. I want
that
him.
RoboCop 2 more edgy.
Dude, I want him teaching Robin how to be a menace to society while painting an entire house yellow just to show a C-lister what the fuck is up. That's how I like my Frank Miller. I like him absolutely crazy.
We need to watch that RoboCop 2 somehow.
At least watch RoboCop 1.
I think
Well,
we need to
one
make
was the
Annie
better
and Cat
one.
watch The Spirit. That's my number one
Okay,
concern.
Andy, have you ever seen RoboCop with Peter Weller? The
Yes.
original. It's
Yeah,
so
he saw
good.
it. Come on, Andy had to have seen RoboCop.
Well, God, it's from
I've got gray in
the
this
80s
beard.
somehow. All right, yeah, you're right. You
Andy's
just
an
look
old
so
ass man
young.
at this point.
Yeah, gray, man. It's the older the kiddo gets, Andy, he gonna be look at man. I'm already Reed Richards. You know,
Yeah.
got this gray in there. Oh, it's horrible, but oh well.
Let's
It's distinguished.
go ahead and move on to our topic of the night then. And I figured with origin stories, why not make tonight's topic infamous origins? So we could talk about our favorite ones or the ones we're tired of seeing, like those pearls dropping, or just the ones we just plain don't like. So, Andy, is there an origin you'd like to bring up or talk about?
I mean, I would be wrong if I didn't go with my heart at first, and that's the origin of the Punisher, Frank Castle. Why? At first glance, it seems like a very mundane way to start a character. One thing I realized, though, is over the number of years that I've been reading and following Frank Castle, every time I look at the origin, I receive it in a very different way depending on where I'm at in my own life. Like now, as a husband and a father, the origin of Frank Castle has a very different impact on me when I take that in than it did when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Drew? Is there an origin story you like or really speaks to you more than any other one?
Silver Surfer. I love the Silver Surfer's origin. I love the fact that he sacrificed his life to save Shalabal and Zenla. He sacrificed his humanity in order to do so. He took on great power, and at the same time became something terrible in his own eyes by the time that he remembered what he had given up and who he had become and what he had lost. He was so far divorced from what that was. The whole coming of Galactus story through the Fantastic Four was great, but I think just exploring the origins of the Silver Surfer is probably one of my favorite origin stories in comics. And as far as like the other side of things, that murky ass, watered down, over explained Wolverine origin, Jesus Christ, what a shit show.
Yeah, they should have just left that a mystery. Probably would have been better off.
Yeah.
What about you?
Hey, Carson, Wolverine has more origins than the Phantom Stranger.
Yeah.
Classic, because it's true. It's really true. But no, origins. When I think about the word origin, I think about one word, and that's Krypton. The most classic origin of all time. Superman, Action Comics 1. Shit, I don't really know what that meant to me when I saw that dude on TV, Christopher Reeve, flying around. I started jumping off the couch with a fucking towel around my neck. I was flying too. But no, like, there's just something about these superheroes and the origin stories. Another, I want to give another little shout out to. I have a video on my channel. I did it a long time ago. It's called "What the Marvel Age Means to Me," and basically, I talk about that 60s Marvel, man, 1961 when it started with Fantastic Four, and up until then they started doing Avengers. Once the Avengers book came out, pretty much everything in that Marvel universe was shit. I mean, you're talking, I guess, Avengers, the movie, not the movie, but the book came out, I think 1964, maybe 63. I can't remember. But, man, I mean, all of those like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Incredible Hulk, not so much Captain America anymore in the Android Torch, but just a lot of the ones that created in the 60s. I want to, those deserve a good shout out, man, because by doing that, Stan Lee like changed the damn culture, man. What the culture?
I want to piggyback off of something Legend said about Superman as well. That's one of those origins that, like, all you have to do is change one variable, and you've got a wealth of different alternate realities based just off of one little twist on the Superman origin. You know, where does he land? Does he land on Earth? Does he land? Which hemisphere does he land in? You know, is his his descent to Earth interrupted by something else? I think that has become a lot of how the DC universe Elseworlds exist, and that's some of my favorite DC stuff is their Elseworld stuff. And using that Superman origin and just twisting it one little bit is just such a fruitful creative endeavor for DC, and a lot of really great stuff comes out of that, like Red Sun.
Drew, tell me about this. You have an awesome what was it? Man, my mind's fried. Is it 1938? Was that Superman Action Comics 1, or was it 39?
Oh, Jesus, I wasn't alive yet.
It was before the 40s. But in 1931.
38.
People went to the movie theater and saw a movie they had never thought about ever seeing, but they wanted to see how they was going to do Mary Wolfgang Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. So they're in the theater and all that kind of stuff, and he's got the hand. Homeboy's going, "It's alive, it's alive!" But when they first see him kind of coming out of the shadows, like when they have him tied down in the little basement area, but when they finally see him come out of the shadows, looking up at the light coming down, doing all the hand, moving the hands, but the Jack Pierce makeup, people ran out of the fucking theater. So when people saw Superman, the funny thing is the fictitious Superman in the comic books. So like the characters that are watching this guy, like lift these things with like ease and leaping real high and everything. People are seeing this in the comics and they're going, holy fuck. Because those people, the little people in the comics have never seen it. So you got to imagine yourself as one of those pedestrians that see this God come, just do these immaculate miracles. Oh, fuck it. Hey, I don't even know where these words are coming from. But Drew, what do you think, man? So what if you were a guy in the 30s and you're like, holy shit, this guy's powerful?
I mean, you also got to remember it's the 30s. Right?
Yeah,
so they're like, he lifted a car over his head, but like 90% of the world's population is, what the fuck is that car? Right? So the car with the automobile's just invented, less than 100 years prior. And now there's a fancy one and a dude's holding it over his head. It's like, what the hell's even going on here?
I know.
It's like being Amish and being dropped in the middle of Times Square. Like these superheroes, man, must have been driving people insane.
Hey, did the 3-wheel tricycle come with the Amish person? Not that all that's it's a horse
and buggy. It's a horse and buggy, but I got what you.
I remember that big tricycle, the big wheel in the front.
A penny farther.
Yeah,
penny farthing.
But yeah, man, there's just so many. But okay, on a personal
Carson.
Go Fantastic Four.
Look, you're gonna say Fantastic Four. We all know that. Let's get Carson's talk about Connor Kent out of the way before we move on. No, Carson, you didn't go yet. What's your favorite order?
I was actually going to mention Connor a little bit, but I was just going to say Spider-Man, because I know it's a basic answer, but sometimes the greatest origins aren't about how the character gets their powers. It's about why they're using them.
Yeah.
And you actually get to see the whole thing play out where he wants to go make money. He wants to, go beat up Crusher Hogan in a wrestling match. And then he lets that thief by. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Soul's ready.
And then he lets that criminal by, and that criminal kills Uncle Ben, and then that's when he remembers his words: "Great power is great responsibility," and the rest from there is history. And that's just one of those origins. Like from there, you better not or can't screw it up. Mm-hmm. So, and then that was going to be my next point, Drew. Is like, what is an origin that's kind of been tweaked over time or reinvention of a character? One of my choices for that was going to be Connor Kent. Because, for like probably a better part of a year when he was first introduced, they were like, oh, he's not a direct clone of Superman. Like, well, whose clone is he? And then you eventually find out, oh, some dude who works for Cadmus Labs. And that was the lamest answer ever. And even, snot-nosed Jeff Johns is sitting at home. He's like, well, that's stupid. Like, I would have made it this guy. And then eventually later he gets to take over Teen Titans. And he's like, all right, now he's going to be half Superman clone and half Lex Luthor, and that made the character hundreds of times more interesting, in my opinion.
I can't disagree there. I love that Connor origin where he's like the dichotomy between the greatest hero and that greatest hero's greatest villain. I think that's great. It's like Superman and Batman having a butt baby. And you know,
Arnold
it's
Schwarzenegger,
like
Danny DeVito.
yeah,
You know,
you know, you give it a little. I just I like a lot of the origins that are being tossed out right now in the chat as well. Barrett, Hallermouse said it had a good one about Ultra Boy of the Legion. All those Legion origins are kind of murky and weird, and that's a really good one. Chris Barrett's got Green Lantern getting his ring from Abin Sur. That's a good one. And you know what I think? I feel like when they switch that Green Lantern origin up, it doesn't really convey the same story that it did with Abin Sur kind of coming to Earth, crashing there, and dying basically in Hal's arms, which is kind of a cool story.
What about
Jeff Schultz was in the chat.
Oh yeah, Jeff Schultz. What's going on?
Jeff's good to see. I used to have 2 first appearances of Abin Sur.
What about you, Andy? Can you think of an origin of recent memory that you liked because they did some sort of tweak or reinvention of it?
No, not entirely, but it's something along those lines. For some reason, a lot of this is escaping me at the moment. But Hazel from Saga, the origin story of her, the narrator of the story, it's along the same lines because of the fact that she's not a traditional superhero with superpowers, but her story and her origin story through that beginning part of Saga is quite amazing. And it's very
origin story, man.
It tugs at my heartstrings. I don't know that
I love that about you, Andy, because that book really, that's you. That's you. That's your life. That book.
Can you imagine, two people from opposing forces in the military falling in love, creating and essentially from different races that are not supposed to commingle or hang out or do anything, and there's that great divide between them, and then they create a child, and it's the first child in living history between these two races because they thought that this could never happen. It's like, you know, they thought they could never commingle and actually commingle DNA and create a child, and then here Hazel is, and everybody in the universe wants to get her now because of this. I can't even put it into words, but reliving the moment a child is born or you have your first child, it's legend. Drew.
Oh yeah, man. It's like everything.
That's,
dude.
you know, that's
15, 16 years later, you're like, I really want to punch that little sucker.
No, but that Saga, like you said, it's so good. It tugs at your heartstrings too, of course, for us parents and everything. But Andy, tell us a little more. How many of those sagas? You love Saga so much. Did you get this Japanese Saga because you loved it so much?
I did. I actually, thanks to the help of some fellow friends.
Yeah, you got a Japanese Saga.
Holy shit.
Blue Green Artifacts and R. Fordham from the Simpleman's Comics Patreon group assisted me in finding this over in Japan. And the week before Christmas, I ordered 2 different styles, so 4 copies of 2 different styles, and they arrived within 5 days. And they ended up being the trades, but it's actually in kanji. So you get Saga, I think I'm pronouncing it right, it's in kanji in Japanese language on the inside of the book and on the outside printing of it.
That is cool, dude.
It's fantastic.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool.
I just got to learn how to read Japanese.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to learn just for Saga, and then this fool's going to start speaking Japanese in just all day language.
We do have a couple good options coming from the chat about best character origin tweak. Chris Barrett says he likes Iron Man, and then I gotta agree with Hallermouse as well. This is another one I kind of want to talk about. Swamp Thing, the Alan Moore redo of that origin, where you kind of find out he was never human at all. He's a monster. He's got to deal with it.
Freaking classic. And I haven't even read it, but I know your passion. I know Hallermouse has always loved him some Alan Moore. Good God, Hallermouse. I was watching Hallermouse back in the day when he was talking Alan Moore and the Watchmen. Man, Alan Moore, one of his faves. Oh, Alan Moore, Watchmen.
What about like murkiest origin? Like we know anybody's got like a confusing, convoluted, told and untold again origin, because I got a good one for that. I think that Star-Lord is a really good character to look at in that vein, because originally Star-Lord was a Marvel comic that was produced, but Star-Lord existed in a different cosmic universe. He wasn't in the Marvel universe.
Wasn't it like a magazine or something?
Premiere. It was a magazine, yeah, and
Marvel Premiere or something like that?
He also was in Marvel Premiere as well, but the Star-Lord wasn't really folded into the larger Marvel universe until you got to like Annihilation. So and then you get all the post Guardians movie young Star-Lord stories with movie Yondu, who sucks. And then you got to tie that all together with the Annihilation stuff and the origin of the Guardians of the Galaxy being told that way. So Star-Lord is like, if you really want to sit down and think of Star-Lord's origin, there's really no way to pin it down because it's all over the fucking place.
Man, I didn't know you knew so much about the damn Guardians of the Galaxy. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. I've read them all.
There's some really good answers coming from the chat as well, a lot of which I agree with. Howler Mouse, once again, Hawkman. Oh my God. Yeah. Hawkman. I couldn't even tell you his origin at this point.
There are like 30 different Hawkmans and they all have different origins.
And then Chaos and Comics. This was going to be my answer as well. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has had some great creators redo her origin, but every single time there was a major event like Christ on Infinite Earths, George Press comes in and redoes everything. New 52, Brian Azzarello gets to come in and redo everything. It's just like they always got to reinvent the wheel with Wonder Woman for some reason.
Well, here's why. Because they put her in like the Trinity of heroes, and they're like, she's a landmark hero. But the thing is, if her origin can't stick, it's because, and they need to keep redoing her origin, it's because she doesn't have the fan base that she should. She's not selling the books she should, and they're not moving the units that they want to. Wonder Woman's a crap character. I'm going to say it right now. I hate to say it. Hey, man, it's not my fault. It's not my fault she can't figure out how to work.
Carter?
Yeah, I love Linda Carter. Yeah, she's awesome. Gal Gadot, fun to look at. Playing Wonder Woman in a watchable sense hasn't happened yet, and it probably never will. And that's okay. It's okay, but I think they need to put Wonder Woman back up on the shelf and go.
How about the Wonder Woman? When you first saw Wonder Woman in the Superman Batman Dawn of Justice, when she came out to that kick-ass theme, I thought I was watching a sexy version of Shinsuke Nakamura coming down with that violin.
And then you know what happened next?
She kicked ass, man.
You know what happened next is Batman knew who she was, and Superman's like, "She with you?" And then Batman says, "I thought she was with you," even though he knows who the fuck she was and who the fuck she was with.
He was trying to get it. He was trying to rib him. That's just
trying to get in a line.
Yeah, when you start doing karate in the garage, you'll start learning how to do ribs.
It's kind of like this, Carson. When you could fool the boys in the back, you got the shit done.
They didn't fool any of the boys. All the boys knew that movie was shit while they were watching it.
Batman put a little mind trick on Superman and fooled him, and he played one of the boys.
Howler Mouse says Wonder Woman stole that movie because everything else was absolute fucking garbage. It was 4.5 hours of absolute fucking garbage, and then a hot chick showed up, and like she had her titties all jiggling, and you were like, "Wow, that's awesome!" Yeah, I did the exact same thing. It doesn't mean it was good. It was just better than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Damn,
I'm getting a little lit up.
Legend, is there an origin that's just murky to you at this point because they've tried to overdo it or redo it too many times?
You know, it's frustrating with the Phantom Stranger origin because you just didn't know. It was mysterious, and that's how it should have been. It really should have been kept that way, because when you read those Golden Age Phantom Strangers, it's kind of like you're watching Twilight Zone, like some kind of like ghost type movie or something. Yeah, Michael Landon classic, Highway to Heaven classic for the culture out there in a minute. I'm gonna get the culture, but like, dude, it's freaking awesome. But now the one I loved the New 52 Phantom Strangers origin being Judas Iscariot, you know, the one that sold out Jesus for the 30 pieces of silver. And so what God did to him was what God, I guess it was them people in the Rock of Eternity, you know, DC storyline. So the Rock of Eternity.
It was Perpetua.
Yeah, they had Pandora and who's the other one? Vic Sage, or unnamed, but the question.
Yeah, the question.
So Judas had to wear the 30 pieces of silver and do the pretty much the highway to heaven gimmick. And every time that he completed one of the good deeds for a person, one of the pieces of silver would fall. And then in the Futures End, New 52 Futures End one shot, lenticular covers, but like the 3D, especially fan of Stranger in 3D. I'm like, damn. But like reading that book, you find out he gets his final silver piece finally falls off, and you get to see what happens. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. Go check it out on the DC Infinite Universe app.
Look, I want to shout out something in the chat, Legend, but I've got a question for you first. How come Michael Landon gets all the love and nobody remembers that dude in the Tiger's hat?
Oh, the dude with the beard, the guy, yeah. He co-starred in
he would always wear that Detroit Tigers hat, right?
Yeah. He was also in Little House on the Prairie. You know, for fun, just for fun, I'm going to do this.
Were they boys?
Bearded guy with Michael Landon.
While you do that,
there he is.
Scarlet Witch has a murky origin as well. Chris Barrett,
Victor French, Chris Barrett, Victor French.
Chris Barrett
says Little House on the Prairie.
Chris Barrett probably knew. I should have just asked Chris Barrett. He wouldn't have to look it up.
Ride in a car, two dudes ride in a car together every single episode. Two dudes,
saving souls, baby, saving souls.
You gotta was it take some balls to love some balls?
It does take some balls to love some balls.
So, you know, Michael Landon, Victor French, rock and rolling. One, his heart was beaten. The other dude's heart wasn't beaten because his ass was already dead. Reborn as an angel. God damn.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those
like Highway to Heaven was touched by an angel before Touched by an Angel.
Touched by an Angel, Highway to Heaven.
Touched by an Angel is a fucking ripoff.
Yeah, Christian type shows, you know, like like that's pop culture.
Makes people feel better about being dead.
It kind of turned those shows just by having Michael Landon in that sexy Touched by the Angel girl.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then you had Maya Angelou, or was that Deloree, or whatever that girl's name was from Harlem Nights. That old ass black lady. You know, got
it was not Maya Angelou.
She got shot in the foot by Red Fox.
She was not on Touched by an Angel.
I think her name was Delorese.
It was Delorese, yes.
Okay, but
certainly Delorese.
I always mistaked her in the old days for Maya Angelou because they look the same. Kind of look the same.
Look, you guys are watching haircut. Modern Man on the Comic Core, where we're talking about Batman Year One, origins of comic books, and Touched by an Angel. Let's mention Delorese a few more times.
All right, sorry about that, Andy.
Yeah, Patrick Wald's joined in the chat. He says, "You guys talk about."
I think he's doing it to me on purpose because he's
I'm not doing it on purpose. It
you
just
want to
started
know all
happening.
these pop culture. You want to get into the pop culture brain up here.
Look, I threw out the Highway to Heaven because I knew you'd catch Michael Landon.
Don't make me start going Little Joe. I told Bonanza.
I personally was offended with myself for not knowing Mr. French's name, who was the dude in the Tiger's hat.
All right, you go Michael Landon back to Bonanza, and who was the guy that was in Battlestar Galactica?
Rob Worst was the best comment of the night.
Who's that guy in Battlestar Galactica, and who was also the head guy on Bonanza?
Oh, I don't remember.
But you know the face though, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Battlestar Galactica is
I just remember Face Man and Richard Hatch.
Edward James Olmos.
That was the new guy.
Yeah, I love that.
Edward James Olmos.
Stand and Deliver. He should have won the Oscar.
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips' early appearance, who also went on to star
as
Chavez in Young Guns, one of Carson's favorite movies because Carson likes to educate.
You know that Lou Diamond Phillips is like regularly on the Wiggles? Anybody know that? Dude, I was watching the Wiggles with my niece, and Lou Diamond Phillips was singing songs about mashed bananas.
Henry Standing Bear on Longmire, and also played in La Bamba. Richie, what was his name? Richie Valens?
Oh, yeah, that's right, La Bamba. Oh, I'm going to go back. People are hopping into the chat after this Hallmark Channel conversation. We got Kid Collector Comics. How's it going, man? We got Patrick Wall. We got Rob Worst, not near Mint, talking about how there's just nothing. That's really sad, so I'm going to keep moving on. Howler Mouse, he's still hanging out in the chat. Chris Barrett, But my last question about origins before we kind of wrap things up tonight. What is there an origin you're just tired of seeing? No, they don't need to do it anymore. Movies, they don't need to reinvent it in the comic books. Legend, I'll let you go first on this one.
God, I you know, you don't ever. I mean, you know, I hate that damn pearls. Every time Martha gets shot and those pearls drop. That's why I'm a big fan of alternate realities. I really enjoyed that damn Flashpoint. You're going to get more of that on the Great Legend show soon to come. Some of the be doing all kind of Flashpoint stuff. I got some new stuff. I got some new products to review. You know that's right. Amazon.com affiliate links gonna make some money off some motherfuckers. All right. Anyway, so what I want to see, I would love to see. Well, you know, I'm not going to say Batman Carson because 10 years from now, you know, ComicManAndy, his son is going to be old enough to start reading some of these awesome Batman things. So no way in hell do I don't ever want to see. Of course, I want to see Batman again. But anyway, yeah, one that I don't really care much for. I wish they could just like, I don't know, man. Shit, I guess Batman is really the only one I like to bitch about. But I'll bitch about the Wonder Woman stuff if y'all want me to, chat. Because yeah, Wonder Woman, they need to find just a good origin story, stick to it. But that's also not to disrespect, you know, any of the guys like George Perez or
Who?
New 52 guy Azzarello. I like Azzarello. I almost did one of those talent talks.
He made that terrible Batman's penis book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My horse was sick, I think, on that one though. But yeah, Carson, I don't know. I don't it doesn't really bother me that much. You know me, Carson, shit. You know, when I go to these cons, when I see all these people, shit, I just kind of walk around. I don't give a fuck. I ain't starstruck. So I ain't starstruck by no origins. I don't think no origins have to change, really.
What about you, Drew? Is there an origin you just like enough is enough? Just stop redoing it. Stop remaking it for a movie. Just give us the movie or show or comic and don't retell what we already know.
There's really one in particular, and I think it falls into the fact that it's one of those really long, drawn out, convoluted origin stories. I mentioned it before. Is Wolverine. If we get Wolverine in the MCU, God, please don't put him in the first X-Men movie. Just don't put him in the first X-Men movie. Make it about, you know, a bunch of kids trying to find their way. Maybe he shows up as the post-credit sequence.
Make the
right?
5, right?
Right. The original 5, the OG 5, or even like kind of switch that up a little bit if you want, but it should be kind of that story. I just don't want Wolverine showing up and being like, I don't remember who I am, and then have 4 fucking movies about him remembering who he is. Like, don't do that. Make him mysterious. Make him not want to talk about it. I'm fine with that. Don't make it like him not remembering and him having to go through.
Hey, Drew.
Shit again, because there's no good way to boil it down to one flick.
You used to have a buddy from Tennessee, right? And you know what the buddy from Tennessee would say? He would say he can't do the original 5 in today's times because all of them fucking 5 was whites. There ain't no diversity with just 5.
I don't care. I don't like. Honestly, I don't care about
Storm and Nightcrawler.
I don't care about race
Warpath,
swapping
Path.
The X-Men as long and I don't care about race swapping any characters from these books as long as they maintain their character. I think that I'm okay with that, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that you can do the OG 5 X-Men and make Jean Grey a black girl. That's fine.
You can make Beast a black girl too.
Yeah, Beast could be a black girl
guy.
too. Beast could be a transsexual Mexican for all I care. Just give me a badass blue one with fur all over him after the feet, or like give me the naked feet, and then give me the big blue furry ones.
What about you, Andy? What's your pick? Keep going.
I'm with Drew. Enough with Wolverine. I'm with Drew on that one right there. And I don't need to really go into more detail about that. Drew hit all the points really well. I do want to see a Frank Castle origin done well on the big screen with John Bernthal. Take the chunk, take the Dolph Lundgren chunk of Punisher origin from the beginning of the movie, remove Dolph Lundgren, throw John Bernthal in there, and let the rest of the movie play out with amazing glory and all badass Frank Castle-ness, and we've got something to work with here. That's what I really want to see.
Andy, did you like the Thomas Jane Punisher?
I enjoyed it, but
I like that one.
They just the larger fan base, it didn't hit home with the larger fan base. I felt like if
John Travolta's terrible in that movie, but beyond that, it's pretty freaking good. Like if you take out the major villain, you just have him like fight Kevin Nash in that rundown apartment for over and over again. I'd watch that movie all day long.
Well, see that they actually pulled that. They actually pulled that from Warzone. They actually pulled that from a scene from a 2 or 3 issue story arc in Warzone with him fighting the Russian, and it was fantastic. So as a Punisher fan, as a Frank Castle fan, getting to see that on screen with him in the red striped shirt, the blonde hair, and that toothy grin right from the comic books, that was epic. So I think the Thomas Jane movie was good. If they had gotten rid of John Travolta, streamlined the movie like Drew said, the rest of the fan base probably would have been okay with Thomas Jane continuing on in that role, but they dropped it after that.
What did you think about the Punisher Warzone movie with the dude
from Rome? Same ordeal. The origin of Jigsaw, epic. The way they did the cosmetics, terrible. It ruined the movie. The Jigsaw cosmetics was so over the top, hilariously cartoony.
I loved it. It was like, but it was like, it was less cartoony and more trauma.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name that played Frank Castle? Steve
Gutenberg.
He did a fantastic.
Now that's a movie I want to see. Steve Gutenberg as the Punisher.
He did a fantastic job portraying Frank Castle in that gritty, dark, quiet, low, gruff voice. Kind of okay. This is a Punisher that I really would like. And then there was bits and pieces and parts in the movie where it was just the writing wasn't great. Some of the villain characters weren't. That whole building fight scene was true Frank Castle, but in the end, the way they portrayed Jigsaw wasn't great, in my opinion.
The Punisher guy, he looked like older looking than the Thomas Jane, more weathered. Like Thomas Jane, a clean cut, but that was kind of like you got the origin part, where the
I gotta pull this up really quick.
All I can think of is
Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson.
That'd be a messed up Police Academy sequel.
Yeah.
Chris Barrett says Steven Seagal. Andy, would you like to see Steven Seagal portray Castle?
Maybe if Frank Castle was arrested, thrown in jail, and sat there and gained 100 pounds and just ate snack foods and watched TV for the rest of his retirement.
His fat ass knows Hapkido, so you better watch your mouth.
So if you got Steven Seagal to portray Frank Castle right now, it would be like if Frank Castle gave up, got a job in a local law enforcement office, and then like it would work towards his retirement to earn a living, and just got fat eating donuts and doing the street cop gig. It would be hilarious.
Howler Mouse says Sly Stallone as Punisher. You know what I always thought would make a great Punisher is Frank Grillo, the guy that got to play Crossbones.
Okay, yeah,
that'd be a good thing.
I thought that he'd be fantastic as the Punisher. He was in talks to be the Netflix Punisher. I think was like the first season of Daredevil. I'd see that like fan cast all over the place. I think it was before he was in Winter Soldier. So
yeah, what other movie was he in where he basically was Punisher? Like it was the one where like there's a certain time of day and then everybody gets to go kill each other.
Purge.
The Purge. Yeah, he was in like the Purge 2.
Yeah,
the Purge.
He's actually really good in that.
You're sure it wasn't the Purge 17? How many
Purge? It might have been Purge 19. I think it was the
Purge every year, man.
Yeah. Oh, ComicManAndy.
The only guy, ComicManAndy Explained is the only guy I know that goes out on the Purge night.
I'm sure that I'd purge. If there was a purge, I'd purge.
David Von Erich purged a lot of his food, and then that's until Bruiser hid the pills. Bruiser flushed the pills down the toilet.
Bruiser did.
Remember that Dark Side of the Ring.
Well, we are getting weird.
So my answer is going to be the Fantastic Four. They have messed up the origin so many times in other medias that I just want to see them as a family making a good movie, them fighting a comic version of Doctor Doom. It's just like
here's what they need to do with that. They need to They need to
Incredibles.
premiere them in another MCU movie, right? And then in that MCU movie, they'd be like, well, wait, you guys have powers? How'd that happen? They're like, well, let me tell you. And like 3-minute flashback, done. And that's
have that
all.
dude from Ant-Man come in and do it.
Yeah.
Have him. No reason he's in the movie. He just does it in like 30 seconds, then he leaves. You never see him in the movie again.
Because
Right.
Stan Lee's probably like got that narrated somewhere.
Hank,
you know?
they just have fucking Hank Pym, Michael Douglas tell
Yeah.
people what happened. in the
Yeah,
Fantastic
Yeah,
Four.
Michael Douglas saying things would put butts in the seats for sure.
Yeah, have him do the commentary over, hey, because they're doing the third Ant-Man movie is going to be the Kang movie, like Kang the Conqueror. How'd this happen? Well, see, this guy is a descendant of the Reed Richards.
Carson and Dru
and do all that stuff and just do it. Well, who the fuck is Reed Richards? Oh, you don't know about the Fantastic Four? Where's he? He's even under a rock. Like
Carson and Dru, they've known. I've always said it like this, have the little cameo, but have their movie set in the 1960s. So the way you get Fantastic Four is through the Kang storyline. That's your entry point.
Yeah, you
But
time jump them.
Then you pull the Fantastic Four to the future to help out when they're needed, or just leave them in the past, man. Shit, do it like they did Captain America. Make it a time piece, a period piece. Get the person that directed Rocketeer and the old first Soldier, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Right.
Just rock and roll with Fantastic Four.
You do the Fantastic Four in their own movie as a period piece, right?
Yeah.
You bring them into the MCU by having the end of their period piece be them being lost in time. You bring them out of being lost in time with the Kang the Conqueror stuff. Bam! $1 million.
Yeah, have Johnny.
I mean,
and Patty
$7 billion.
around together.
$300 billion idea right there.
What about Torch and Tom Holland?
Look, you take the Tom Holland Torch, you make them be friends. And then they'd be
Spidey and the Torch, they're gonna be chilling together, man.
best
Just
friends.
have a Firestar flying like, oh, hey, guys.
That's one of the
They'd be
things
like,
I read.
And Iceman will come in with Firestar as her gay best friend.
They mentioned that. They said if they, once they get the Fantastic Four, get the Human Torch property, get the Human Torch and Spidey team ups going.
I think honestly that what they need to do, every Marvel movie should just not be Spider-Man. It should not be Iron Man. It should not be the Avengers. It should just be like MCU, this and that, and like yeah, people just show up and fight.
It's like Ultimate Fighting Championship. MCU 10.
It's like Marvel Ultimate Alliance
versus
downloaded content, man. It's just like who to thunk it.
Yeah.
Frank Castle versus. We got to think of another kick-ass. Ooh, how about Hawkeye? Frank Castle versus Hawkeye.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And
that's how you bring Frank back into the MCU fold. Is you have season 2 of Hawkeye be Kate Bishop hunting down Bernthal.
Oh, okay.
That girl, man.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's got to right the wrongs. And you know who shows up? Bullseye shows up.
Hey, not near minute, Carson. That one up. Wouldn't that just be called Marvel Team Up?
Yeah, just call it Marvel Team Up. Which fucking A, every fucking one should be Marvel Team Up. The Thor Ragnarok is actually Marvel Team Up because the Hulk's in it just as much as Thor is. Come on.
Comic book 1962. What's going on, man? He says, whatever, stop Origins, just comic book movies like they do James Bond. Jump into a story we already know. Exactly. At that point, I feel like that's where we're at with most of these characters. Like, just have us hop in the story and make it good.
Marvel does that
idea
in a really good way. I think that's what Black Widow is going to be set up to be. Is like, here's some characters here's some new characters, here's a spy mission movie, and it seems like it's out of continuity, and it might give us some pieces of other things.
Here's a good way of looking at it. We want to be entertained. We don't necessarily need to be educated, right?
Right.
Like as a fan base, how many times does the fan base need to be re-educated on origins and stories that they're intimately familiar with? Entertain the fan base and do it well.
Well, the thing is, you want to grow the fan base at the same time. You need to have everything have an entry level point to it, which I think is great that Marvel has as much content as they have on Disney Plus right now. So if you've been stuck in the house and watching Disney Plus, and you're a Marvel fan, you've seen all the Marvel movies that are on there. You've also seen all the connective tissue stuff that they give you that's on there. And now there's like a new streaming show called Legends, which is like 10-minute episodes about talking about Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Drinking that Marvel Kool-Aid. Drinking that Marvel Kool-Aid.
Yeah, drink it because it tastes like comic books. Okay, it doesn't taste like failed joint ventures with Time Warner. Okay, that's what Marvel tastes like. It tastes like
I blame AOL. I blame AOL. They fucked up.
AOL all you want. Jeff Johns wrote Wonder Woman 1984. Jeff Johns wrote that.
Oh my!
Okay,
can't taste
he
arsenic.
also wrote Shazam.
Well, you know, every turd's got a kernel of corn in it sometimes.
How about Gary Frank? Gary Frank. I got one more for Carson here.
Yeah.
I know we're getting a little long in the tooth, but one origin story that we have not seen on TV, which, oh man, the TV would be great, or movies, has been a DC Jack Kirby classic. And Howler Mouse knows it's Commandy. We haven't seen a Commandy movie or TV show. And dude, hell, the first 5 issues you can make a kick-ass movie out of, you know.
Commandy would work well in like a format like Stargirl.
Yeah, or Stargirl. I like the Stargirl, 10, 20 episodes. I go back in time to the OG Planet of the Apes live action TV series of the 70s. Yes. Well, yeah, 70s. Had to be 70s. Man, just some kick-ass stuff there. Post-apocalyptic, into the future, Commandy interacting, meeting Tufkin, hanging out with Caesar. Well, not Caesar. He's hanging with Tufkin. Caesar's Tufkin's daddy.
Okay, Micronauts, yeah.
The Baxter guy, Bob Baxter, and old Dr. Canine or Canias or whatever the heck his name was. But anyway, Commandy, Carson. Now, I'm not saying chat, I'm not saying go out and find Commandy #1, but you probably want to go out and get Commandy #1 just for the fucking read. I mean, the first issue leaves you with that cliffhanger, and it's kind of like a Twilight Zone, a Rod Sterling. Thank you. Fucking A, Mandela effect. Ain't no
Yeah,
Sterling. It's Sterling with a T.
Forrest Whitaker getting at it again.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker, in one reality, his eyes look normal. And then in this reality, his eyes like fucking.
No, it's one is it's left, and the other one it's the right.
Oh, I thought he had like both of them looking good in the neighborhood.
I mean, maybe in a third reality, who knows?
Well, Sinbad. I always thought Sinbad was in a Shazam movie, like
Sinbad was in First Kid. You guys remember
true.
that movie?
I do. I don't know
Carson,
why.
what do you think, brother Carson?
Look, you don't have to go get Commandy #1, but you can probably in dollar bins find that was that challenge of Commandy they did, the Commandy challenge.
That's a good challenge. That's a good read.
Oh, I know.
There was some were better than others, but it was a really cool exploration of the Commandy universe and that character, and should definitely be checked out. If you guys,
I think that's the only. I think that's the second challenge DC's done. Maybe this is the third challenge. I think they did the DC challenge. Carson, did they do a DC challenge too? Do you remember?
I feel like they did kind of something wrapped into Countdown, but it's been a while, and I hated Countdown.
So I guess Commandy would be like.
I feel like there was definitely some Command D stuff, like literally Command D.
Yeah,
because
there'd be like you'd have your
Countdown.
artists and your writers change each issue, so it's like a wrestling match or running a relay race. You're setting your opponent up for the save, or or let's go. We're going John Stockton to Malone. There we go.
Basketball.
I didn't get one in for tonight. Yeah,
we're getting into our basketball.
I gotta throw this up there. That's classic basketball metaphors.
All I know is one last note, Commandy. Then we're gonna get into the finale here. All I know is the CW already has a show where a bunch of idiots travel back and forth in time.
Not anymore.
Can't they go pay an hour?
Really?
Yeah, all of them. I think they're canceling all of them.
Even Flash?
I think CW is going away.
Dude, I think Anthony AP sent that on Facebook, but I didn't know if it was like I didn't understand what the hell he was doing.
I think they're all going away. I think Stargirl's sticking around on the HBO Max.
He had a meme where all of them were next to this grave site, like Grant Gustin, the guy that plays.
I thought that was just like Green Arrow and the Canaries, and then Supergirl and the other ones they've canceled.
I thought Flash was
I don't
canceled
think
too.
it was all of them.
I
know Ralph Dibny was getting fired. Remember, Ralph got fired for Twitter.
All right, now we're
Dibbing
anyway. Couldn't they
I'm
go
sorry.
pay a visit to Andy? Like they travel in time. Just go forward, pay an hour, and if people like the episode, invest in the character.
Yeah,
you already have a forum to do it.
And DC knows what y'all buy because DC looks at comic books. DC looks at all the stuff you buy on eBay by just, easy ass searches for themselves. They got freaking people that get on the front lines to see what all of us are reading. And if people are wanting Commandy, tweet that shit up, man. And they be putting some Commandy on the silver screen.
All right, so now is the time where I want to see a bunch of suggestions go in the chat. So we have no idea what kind of poll we wanted, so we're going to leave it up to the chat to decide what we're going to read 2 weeks from now for episode 66 of Modern Men. So if you guys want to start
what are we reading next week?
Into the chat next week.
For issue 66, it ought to be the Order 66, Andy, with a Star Wars book. Maybe the Empire.
I believe Avengers No Surrender won the poll. So that's what we're reading next week.
Next year for Order. Well, will we ever get 66 again? Fuck. Order 66. Sorry.
Oh, this is the time, though. But episode 69, while we're talking about it, February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, we will be reading Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. So definitely tune in for what's probably going to be a really interesting episode of Modern Men. If this one wasn't interesting enough for you, I'm sure that one will be absolutely crazy. So tune in to episode 69 of Modern Men.
Hero Initiative.
Now, the episode 69, Sex Criminals, will be powered by the Hero Initiative legend.
2 weeks is Chris Barrett's birthday, he said. He's saying Marvels.
Go to heroinitiative.org.
Put Marvels on the poll for the last time ever. We will let fate decide. Marvels now or Marvels never.
I'm voting for Marvels.
Well, Howler Mouse has a good counter to Marvel's Earth X.
Okay,
let's read Earth X instead and really piss off Barrett.
No, dude. You know what happens on Earth X, Carson? The Germans.
Remember
Carson?
Oh, the other Earth X.
Yeah, because you remember Uncle Sam, Freedom Fighters, man.
Oh, man.
I still haven't watched that.
Germans. Yeah, watch.
You got to make it a real interesting poll.
All right. How about this one? This one isn't that modern though, is it? Well, would you consider?
We didn't even read a modern book tonight, so who cares?
That's fine.
80s.
Whatever happened to the Man?
I don't care.
Let's
change the name of the show. I've been saying that forever.
Hey, I'm also open to renaming suggestions for Modern Men. If anyone has a better name
for the call y'all's name Copper Girls. You got Golden Girls, you got Copper Girls. No, it'd be Copper Guys, not girls. Sorry, my bad. Golden Guys, Copper Guys.
I think we should just read whatever the fuck we want. I think we should change the name of the show to reading whatever the fuck we want.
Just think about it. Here's what I would do.
If we can get away with that.
All the way. Once you hit issue 100, all bets are off. When you hit issue 100, hey, you know what you could do, Carson? Every so often, you could switch it. So you can go all the way to Bronze Age to Modern and then do about 50 episodes. And when you say you get to 200 episodes, then it's like, now we could read Golden Age all the way to Modern. How about that for reviews? Be kind of cool. Well, you're going to run out of things to review with your Modern Men's.
Nova.
Well, go back.
What Nova run are you thinking of? 1962.
I also saw Hellboy in the chat. I'm not sure which one the Crooked Man is.
Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
Richard Rider, the Volume 1 Richard Rider. Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
I'll tell you right now, Volume 1 of Nova with Richard Rider is nigh unreadable. It's not.
I tried to read Man Thing for October Reads. That was awful.
Some of those Marvels.
1976 original. Yeah, I don't know if Maybe we can do a special 1-issue episode. But I am certainly not reading more than 1 issue of that Run of Nova. I'm happy that it's something that you enjoy and it's something that you look back on fondly, maybe. But I tried to reread that Run of Nova fairly recently, and it was not something that I want to do again.
Dude, I love reading old school, dude.
But I'm probably not going to be here next week, guys, when we read No Surrender, and that was my suggestion.
Oh, man.
I'm going to be on vacation.
We could just save it for 2 weeks and read whatever wins for next week.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
cool
yeah.
too,
I don't want you to No Surrender.
Yeah, No Surrender is fantastic.
Oh yeah, well we want you here because we're gonna need you to explain that story. So let's just do that.
Really easy to understand.
It probably is, but I'm gonna have questions. I'm not gonna do any research.
If it was easy to understand, you should have made it easy to understand.
It's standalone. You need to know what's going on in the. What's that? Paper Girls? We read Paper Girls already.
Yeah, I think we were at Paper Girls. I saw Why the Last Man mentioned. We've already read the first couple volumes of Why the Last Man. Phenomenal read, one of my all-time favorites. But Legend, you're our guest tonight. You have any recommendations on what we should throw on to the next week's poll?
I thought, like Hallermouth said, he said Hellboy, one of the Hellboy storylines.
Yeah, I'm not sure which. I've never heard of that storyline. The Crooked Man.
Hellboy, the Crooked Man. I'd have to look that up too.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put Hellboy in.
I know the Seed or something like the Demon Seed or Seed of Darkness or something like that. That's the first trade.
Yeah,
like my library app has all of the Hellboy stuff on it, so that'd be kind of cool. Oh my God, Astro City. That's another Hallermouth classic. Okay. I love Astro City.
I'm putting Astro City on there then.
Astro City's worth reading. Yeah,
2011 issue 1 or go.
Cal Von Strange throws Hillbilly.
Okay,
yeah, that Hillbilly, first run of Hillbilly is really good.
Powell, right?
Beautiful book.
Yeah, Astro City, man. Shit, I gotta go. I'm pretty sure. I gotta make sure. Yeah, Seed of Destruction. Thanks, CB. I need to get that Astro City and make sure I complete that last run they did of that, because I don't know if I got the last issues of that or not.
All right, so I think we got a few ideas here. We're gonna put on our poll once we get off
in the big
get
city.
Straightened up. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. It'll just be me and Andy next week. So for episode 65, we're gonna read the winner of the poll. So we'll give it until Thursday. And then Thursday, 10 p.m., whatever happens there, we'll cut it off right there.
Tell you what, I might call in and do an audio appearance if you guys are doing a live show.
This big city, man, Carson. Remember, Astro City, life in the big city.
Nice.
That's the storyline we'll read.
All right, and then like I said, we got episode 69, Sex Criminals, and who knows what we'll do for 67 and 68. But I'm sure we'll find something fun to do. But
I got wild card
67, Spider-Man, maybe a Fantastic Four story. You go back to 67.
Yeah, you never know.
If I throw my wild card, we respawn, right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. Are you throwing the wild card tonight?
Should I just scrap this whole poll?
No,
Dude,
no.
We do
I'm
have
not going to be here next week.
We got 14 watching. You can throw it down now. You can see the chat could be here. Yeah, pick the week. It's your call. You got the card.
I don't want to make
throw
you
it
guys
if you want to. What do you?
What do you even have? The independent one? Is that what
the independent one?
Oh, okay.
Which means I can make you guys read something weird that I love that
come on,
you guys have never read before and probably won't get or appreciate. Or I can
no, do that, Drew. I'll read something like that.
Yeah.
If you respawn them, I'll give Legend a wild card too.
That's right.
Done. All right. Headlopper.
Okay.
Volume 1.
All right, there it is. We got the wild card gimmick. I don't know if I have a wild. There we go. Boom. Alert. Red alert.
We're going to read Headlopper, and then we're going to respawn wild cards.
Oh, thank God you didn't read Count Von Strange's comment. He's just like, make Carson read the Ultimate Warrior comic again. Like, never. No.
Nope, not going to do that.
My horse, the whole stable will be sick. The whole horse stable will be sick.
Astro City
painted the Warrior thing.
Too.
No, Dog Welder's a DC property, Chris Baird. I couldn't call it. I would.
All right. So I guess to recap all of the happenings just now. So what? Yeah, we're gonna read the poll winner next week.
I'm throwing my card now.
Oh my God!
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do it, but I know what's gonna be on there, and it's gonna be fucking great, man. So I really encourage the chat to tune in. You never know when the great legend is going to be guest starring on Modern Men. So make sure you tune in each and every week, because you're never going to know when I'm going to throw that wild card, because it's going to be a WCO out of nowhere, man.
And I think we'll let Legends be anything he wants, and then the three main hosts here, we'll do a spin next week to determine who gets the Marvel to DC and the image, or not image, but independent wild card. So we'll do that same gimmick again next week. But Legend,
I
you
think
can
we should switch the gimmick up. We should make it different.
Okay, well, we'll think about it and come up with it next
Right?
week.
And it shouldn't be publisher specific. We should probably like get genres or something.
Okay. Well, we'll spin some ideas off the air. But yeah, let's do that.
Keep it
I'm good with
fresh.
that. All right. So, Andy, where can people find you?
You guys can find me here every Monday night reading some of the greatest reads around with the greatest people around. You guys can find me on my own channel. I got a giveaway going on. Check it out. You guys can find me occasionally on Mondays and Thursdays on the Comic Core as well. And you can find me on the Pinkies Out podcast on anchorfm.com.
Now, tell me a little bit more about this contest. When does this thing end? Next week?
Next Monday, and it's not really a contest. It's just an appreciation giveaway. 3 massive boxes. Each one's going to have a CGC 9.8 slab in it. Each one's going to have a trade in it. And there's going to be a Gemini mailer full of key issue comics in there. So you go over to my channel. It's the first video on the front page that everybody sees. It's the holiday giveaway. You got 1 week left to enter it, and it's extremely easy to enter. Watch
How
the
do I do it? How do I enter? I'm going to do it right now, live on the air.
Watch the video.
Older?
Oh, I got to watch the video? I can't do that.
Are you subscribed?
I'll do that later.
It's 6
I'm
minutes.
subscribed. Do
Yeah.
I have to put
like
a hashtag?
So subscribe, watch the video, do a reaction, comment down below, and you're in.
Oh, wow.
And we give away these 3 massive boxes live next Monday.
That sounds
Wow. All right, Drew, where can people find you?
You're not going to be able to find me. I'm going on vacation on Thursday. I'm flying out of this town and hitting another town, and probably going to get some sort of infectious disease when I gather with a bunch of people at the Walt Disney
You
World.
going over to
campus.
JD's house?
No, I'm not going to JD's house. I'm not getting his diseases.
What?
Jesus. I don't want his diseases. I'm going to get Mickey Mouse's diseses. I'm going to ride that rise of resistance or whatever. And I'm going to drink blue milk and a goddamn Katina. And I'm going to give me a overpriced lightsaber replica because I'm going to goddamn Disney World.
Is it just dyed milk?
This guy knows how to cut.
I have no idea what it is.
This guy cuts some of the best promos in the game.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something.
That's the timing on that.
Got him.
You only get it here, though, fans. That's why you need to tune in Mondays.
You know, we're having a good time. And yeah, I'm going on vacation. So you're not going to find me.
Oh, you can find me. Just search C Woodard 19 on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm on all those mediums. Sometimes even on the PlayStation or the Xbox. Even though I've been watching a lot of movies recently, I'm on vacation this week. It's been a lot of fun. I've been doing nothing. It's been great. So maybe I'll do a live stream tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe Andy and I'll read some Turtles. Maybe not. We'll see. Maybe next week. We're tired, but
We got another month to wait for Last Ronin.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's heartbreaking, but Legend, tell us where we can find you, what's going on your channel, and while you're at it, you have the classic sign out, so I'm just gonna let you take it, man.
All right, man. Well, first, let me get that off the screen. I don't know why Jason Cantu's trying to give me herpes here. Dude. God damn, Cantu. Damn. All right, so the fans, the legend, has it going on at youtube.com/rdowdy95, where the great legends always coming at you live. So, man, definitely going over there. Check it out. You got comics, cooking, gaming, the truth. You get all the good stuff over there at the Great Legend Show, youtube.com/rdowdy95. If you can't remember youtube.com/rdowdy95, or you don't want to click on the link that Chris Barrett puts up in the chat right now, just go to google.com and type in 2 words. First word is great. Second word is legend. So you're going to see the Great Legend at the top. Top. And, you know, speaking of classic, I was reminding the wife today and the young ones, they're trying to build up their clout. They're trying to make these video game videos, show off to their friends, right? They're trying to do all this stuff. But I had to remind them that for 1 week back in like 2013, I was the 4th most commented on video in gaming in the world. 4th in the world on YouTube, man. I had to remind them that that's how we roll with it back in the day, But anyways, they're trying to build up their clout, right? Stuff like that. So I don't know, man, Carson. But you come over to the Great Legend Show and you're going to get entertained. And we're going to also play some video games and do some product reviews. I'm going to tell you about some products that you can't live without. Have you ever heard about Mary Kay selling that makeup? You ever heard about Cincy smelling some shit? You ever hear about all that kind of stuff? Well, you ever hear about that one called Herbalife? You take the vitamins and you drink the damn little protein shakes. They ain't doing shit. That's like Don fucking Pre. You can make so much money buying and selling real estate. Yeah, you can. But you ain't no fucking Don LaPree because his ass is dead. Just like the founder of Herbalife, just like all those other motherfuckers, they're dead. Fans, this is the Great Legend saying peace out.